And welcome to our community. Kevin Miller joins us this morning. He's Director of Marketing and Communications at Habitat for Humanity. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, and thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
We had to have you back because this is busy building season.
It is busy season.
Tell us what's going on with Habitat right now.
Well, we're building all the time. We're bringing volunteers in all the time. We're working to get the stories out about the families that are working really hard. It's all systems go right now in Habitat world, and we love it. We thrive on it. This is what we exist for, to build homes, to renovate homes, to demolish old blighted structures. I mean, we're invested now. It's go time.
Are there some areas that you're really focusing on more than others right now?
We build in Stark, Carroll, Tusk, Harrison, and Jefferson County. So Habitat for Humanity, East Central Ohio. It's funny you mention this. In the upcoming years, we're going to be really making an investment in the northeast part of Canton, in one neighborhood in particular. It's going to be a 4-year effort where we're going to do projects of all sorts. So I mentioned some of them before, but new construction, renovation, even critical home repair, homes that need just a little bit of touch-up to make them safe and stable. We're going to demolish some blighted structures and even create some pocket parks for this particular neighborhood. So right now there are a couple houses that are going on right there. One of them is actually this really awesome picture of unity. We call it the Interfaith Build. And it's going on right now. There are 3 groups who are part of it: the Islamic Society of Northeast Ohio, Temple Israel here in Canton, and St. Paul Episcopal Church also in Canton. And so these are folks, and I love this because I think it's kind of exactly what our world needs to see right now. People setting aside their differences and coming together because they believe that everyone deserves a decent, affordable place to call home. So all of these folks, they're invested in this home already on the northeast side of Canton, and they're building this home right now with the Jenkins family, and it's going up quick, and everybody's enjoying it, and it's meaningful. I think it means a lot, not just to the Habitat world, but to all the folks who are part of all of those organizations. And I just think it's a beautiful picture of unity because people are worth it.
Let's make no mistake, Habitat is beyond a faith-based organization. Habitat is unapologetically a Christian organization.
It is. Absolutely.
How did you manage to get people of other faiths to say, yeah, we'll do something with Habitat?
Let me reiterate what you said. It is a Christian ministry, and our mission statement is seeking to put God's love into action. We bring people together to build homes, communities, and hope. And I think that the tangible aspect of Habitat for Humanity, a home where there wasn't a home, or green space where there was a blighted property, these are all things that are very tangible, and everyone, regardless of their faith, regardless of their socioeconomic status, regardless of any of these factors that we love to let separate us, people come together because they believe, and I'll say it again, in a world where everyone has a decent, affordable place to call home. And they see the result at the end. They'll come out, they'll swing a hammer, they'll donate $1, they'll invest in Restore by donating and shopping there. All these things, they just see it all come together into this very, very tangible thing at the end. And yet there's this also intangible part of offering a family strength, stability, and self-reliance through that tangible home. So I think it's this idea of people coming together just to put their hands to something real that kind of points a family into a future that has just an open door of possibility in every single direction.
Have you been on the site? Have you gotten to hear conversations of the people working together?
Yeah, absolutely. Out in this northeast part of Canton that I've been talking about, we're actually doing 3 houses in a row, side by side by side. The Interfaith Build is one of those. And so going out there, in fact, we did a big group picture with all the volunteers from all 3 sites. And you'll see it on our Facebook page probably this coming week. So, I think that when we get there and we see the families who are working alongside the volunteers, they get up and they talk about how this is just changing their lives. It's changing the lives of their children. It's providing their children opportunity for education. It's giving them a renewed strength and self-confidence and hope in who they are and what they can accomplish with their lives. And then on the volunteer side, I always ask when I do our site devotion on volunteer days, who's volunteered with Habitat before? And, probably 75% of the people who are on the work site have been with Habitat before. There's just this recurring, I want to come back, I want to do more, I want to get involved again. And that's the story that I hear most often. And I just just think it's because there's a family involved, there are children involved, there's a future involved, and I just think it's one of the most beautiful examples of people who, put their faith into action, or people who put their belief that human beings are worthwhile. They're worth an investment because there's a bright future on the other side of that investment. And I just think it's such a beautiful thing. I'm talking a lot because I love it and I'm so passionate about it. And I just think that Habitat is one of the most beautiful examples of people coming together regardless of differences.
Yeah.
And I think that's a message that the world could use right now.
Yes. When you say that they put their differences aside, but are there talks about the differences?
There
because
are.
Sometimes that's what really is cool too, to be able to share faith with each other.
That's right. So, for example, that interfaith build, there are days where we go out for the devotion and we talk about our Christian faith. We talk about what we're doing at Habitat, and then we invite our Jewish friends to talk about how they view this thing, and we invite all the folks who are there to kind of share a little bit about what's driving them. And it always comes back to a belief that an investment in a person, in a family, is one of the top things you can do with your life, regardless of what faith you profess.
Let's talk about those families now. They work right alongside, not just on their own homes, but on other homes as well. Tell me about that.
They do. So what you're talking about is a thing we call sweat equity. And that's a much bigger picture. It's not just building their home and the homes of others, although that's a big part of it. Each family is required to do hundreds of hours of sweat equity, but it also includes things like financial literacy courses, homeowner maintenance education courses, where they'll learn to, for example, shut off the water in an emergency situation, or put a sliding door back on track, which is something I've always struggled with. So it's helpful for me too. How to change a furnace filter to prolong the life of the system. All these things. So it's a beautiful picture as well, because we say at Habitat, everyone's got sweat in the game. They've all got skin in the game. They're working to better themselves. And we talk a lot at Habitat about strength, stability, and self-reliance. I've already mentioned it here today, but those are the three things that are really getting built here. I mean, we're talking about houses, but we're talking about breaking this cycle of poverty that families can often find themselves in, whether they're coming from public housing or from rental situations or just from a string of poor decision making. We're trying to break all of those bad systems down so that they can re-envision a future for themselves that is brighter than they could have imagined, a year ago.
Do you see that as families are participating with Habitat, that you're seeing more two-parent households coming from this?
It's really diverse. I mean, yes, there are a number of two-parent households, and that's awesome. And there are also a number of single-parent homes, and there are people of all colors and all faiths and all everything. And I think that that's really a beautiful part of Habitat. It's an equal housing opportunity, so that's something that we pay attention to very intentionally. But we love that there's a big diversity in all the families. I mean, everybody, regardless of their situation, can find themselves in a bit of a struggle.
That's right.
It doesn't matter, it could be a few bad decisions. It could be just circumstances in life that just play against you. It could be any of those things. So really, it's everything. And I think that that's a beautiful picture, because Habitat isn't just for one demographic. It's not for just one set of people. It is for everybody. And everybody could use sometimes a hand up, not a handout.
I love that. A hand up, not a handout. And I think of what's being modeled for the children. Now, because you've been around for how long?
A couple years now, me at Habitat.
Okay, and then Habitat itself.
Yeah, Habitat itself, our affiliate, which is what we call it here in Canton, has been around for about 28 years.
So you've got a next generation now.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got children who grew up, they've watched their parents better themselves through Habitat, take their family into a home.
Yeah.
And do you find now that those children are doing better than their parents did, making better decisions, or are they also doing Habitat homes? What do you find? We
find often, and there are a couple articles we've posted recently on our Facebook page about this that we've found elsewhere, but children who live in decent, affordable homes inevitably do better in school. Families are able to spend more money on health care, on better food, on higher education opportunities. And so, yes, we're seeing that there's this generation that's come up that is going to college. They're graduating from college. They're getting great jobs. And this is a beautiful part of Habitat. And honestly, it all comes down to decent, affordable housing. And affordable is the key with what we're talking about right here, making sure that families have the resources. They work hard for their resources. Some of our partner families, when they're building, they're working a day job, a night job, then they're coming to Habitat on Saturday, and they're working harder than most people that I know, and it's a beautiful thing. But when we're talking about affordable housing, we're talking about that specifically because we want families to live in a world where they can afford the things that will set them up for success, that will provide for better health care, better food, better education.
Now, I want to go back to something. Let's dwell on this a little bit,
Sure.
because is it that they are able to buy a home that they're also in a position that they're able to afford health care and education and so forth? Or is the better home, this is a chicken or egg
Yeah,
question,
that's right. I
is
think I
the
see where
better
you're
home
going.
making those other things
Right.
available to them?
I think it's both and. I really do. I think when a family changes their mindset and starts to believe in themselves, that provides a dividend of brighter future. When they're not living in a situation that contains black mold or issues of health in the house itself, that provides a healthier environment. When they're able to have that a little bit of extra income where they can invest in the things that make you healthier. I mean, when they're able to buy a better food, buy a vegetable instead of a hamburger. I mean,
Yes.
all those sorts of things, it all plays together. And it's just this wonderful holistic view of what life can be. And I don't believe, as I sit here today, that I'm overstating this. I think that a home, a decent, affordable home, is that pivotal to a family's success.
You see the morale and the hope.
Yeah.
And describe, if you will, one of those ceremonies when they are first cutting the ribbon and going inside their home.
That's an incredible moment. So yeah, we do a dedication service for just about every home. Sometimes we have so many that we lump them together. We have one coming up for 4 families and 4 homes that we're dedicating. And that moment, we've got all the volunteers who were a part of those builds, as many as can make it. The people who have helped it happen financially. We've got the families. We've got other partner families who help to build the homes that the families are dedicating. And so everybody, this big, beautiful community just comes together and just goes crazy about these folks who are receiving their keys and making their first zero interest mortgage payment. So it's an exchange. And I think that kind of reiterates that hand up, not a handout scenario as well. So as they receive their key, they're making their first payment, zero interest mortgage payment. And that's a beautiful thing too. I'm using the word beautiful a lot, but that's what I'm struck with as we're talking today. It's just this wonderful picture of healthy community. And those moments, those dedications are that's like the icing on the cake.
Yes. How does a family get selected? Because, these interest-free mortgages sound awfully good.
Yeah, sure they do.
How do you qualify for this program?
There are 3 things that we look for when we're talking with potential partner families. And we actually have a team of people in our family partnership department who go through this every single day with all the applicants who come in. And there are a lot, and not everybody qualifies. So when we talk about qualification, we're looking at the need. Is there a need? Are you currently living in substandard housing? Is your rent really high? What's going on in your situation? Tell us about the need. There has to be an ability to pay as well. So again, these aren't free homes, and that's a huge misconception about
Right.
Habitat. These homes are not given away. They're purchased after a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears from these families. And then finally, are they willing to partner? All the families have to be able to, are willing to partner with us to do sweat equity, whatever that looks like. If it's, if we're working with someone with a disability, that sweat equity looks completely different than somebody who is investing and is able-bodied. So it's a very interesting process. But again, we're coming back to, is there a need? Is there an ability to pay? And is there a willingness to partner with Habitat?
We're speaking with Kevin Miller. He's Director of Marketing and Communications at Habitat for Humanity. You are coming up on your 500th house.
True.
We're going to be talking more about that. First, we need to take a little bit of a break.
Okay.
We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.